It is Ryan Cameron Uncensored, and we're very happy and proud to have Tammy Franklin in the building.
One time for Tammy Franklin, y'all. Come on now. Come on.
Hello.
All the team, come on.
Hello. I'm bringing some estrogen to this situation.
Yes. I mean, TBB, Two Broke Brothers.
Two Broke Brothers.
That's us. Two Broke Brothers.
I got to write that down for
Well,
later.
gentlemen, I must say the beards are very nicely.
Thank you very much.
I was looking at you. I said, okay.
That's that Big Ray beard oil. That's what it is, Joe.
Are you plugging your products
plugging
already?
my products.
Come on. As they say, the beards are bearding.
The beards
today.
are definitely bearding.
That's what the kids say. The beards are bearding.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
First question. What made you decide that you wanted to come from behind the scenes?
Oh, gosh.
Like, how many times did people try to convince you to do something in front of the camera?
Actually, pretty often.
Yeah.
I mean, through this process, I've been married to the Kirk Franklin, the little hyperman, for 27 years. And so, with his platform comes, some visibility for myself.
Right.
And so, but even I would say it's funny, interesting that you would ask me that. Even before him, I would, people don't know this. Y'all are.
Breaking news.
I was in a little singing group. And
Really?
I was. And I did more of the, choreography. I did the wardrobe.
Okay.
But whenever we would meet at Zex, they would always say, you need to come, you need to come forward. So it's 4 girls. And they'd be like, why aren't you not out in the front a little more?
Okay.
So, I'm the oldest of 7. And what does the oldest do? They support.
Right.
And so that's just kind of my nature. It's just to support and, be a cheerleader. And so this just kind of naturally happened. My husband and his business partner have been in communication and talks with TV One just about some ideas.
Yeah. And
they loved the idea of us doing a show together.
Right.
And so Kirk and I have done kind of one-off things together, maybe for Christmas,
right.
More family focused like that. But this was going to be, quite different. I was going to come alongside and carry a show, along with him. So it's been interesting.
What's been the biggest challenge?
Oh, I would say the biggest challenge initially was just the fact that I was scared.
Really?
I was nervous. Yeah.
But you do so many events. You know what I'm saying? Like, this should have been nothing.
No, this is different. This is me coming along, co-hosting, trusting my instincts. That was something that I definitely learned that I could do.
Yeah.
I had a great producer assigned to me, and she pointed out to me midway. She's like, I'm not giving you any more notes. You're
I was going to ask you
this
that.
by yourself.
Do you take notes well?
I take notes very well.
Okay.
For me, I'm a thinker, and I like to know what I'm going into, but also too, I like someone to give me the context of what's happening, so
right.
I can know the temperament. Okay, well, how do I need to address this? And so, yeah, I mean, I welcome, and plus, like I said, I was a nervous wreck. So having a producer, having someone to say, hey, this is the scene, this is the feel of what we're going for, was very helpful, especially for something, brand new for me. But when she pointed out, girl, trust your instincts. I haven't given you any notes. And I hadn't even noticed that she hadn't given me any notes. But it was such a huge compliment for me.
When we come back, we're going to have more with Tammy Franklin, talking about something that's going on that's been going global for somebody who was, was short and is now tall. I want to ask you a question when we come back.
Okay.
All right, it's Ryan Cameron Uncensored. It is Ryan Cameron Uncensored, and we are back talking about The One, which airs Thursdays at 9 on TV One.
Yes, 8 Central.
8 Central. Mm-hmm. One of the co-hosts of this show is here. The other half, Kirk Franklin, who's a good friend of the show. The last time I saw him, we were at a place, and my kids and my former wife just were like fanning out. Oh my God! And I was like, he'll take a picture. I mean,
yes, he
very,
absolutely
very
will. Yeah.
genuine. Very,
Kirk is gonna stay to the last person.
Right, he'll
leaves.
sign and take every picture.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's been now, doing music professionally for over 30 years now.
Yeah.
And what was interesting when he went out with Mav City, they received their success pretty quickly. I think within 5 years.
Yeah,
and so, amazing group. And so they were so shocked when they were like, "You're gonna stay," like maybe they would do
Right.
signings, and they were like, "You're gonna stay," and he was like, to the last person.
That's what's up.
It's like I approach everything like it's my first time.
Yeah, that's a brilliant way to look at
Yeah.
things. So there's a person that has gone global for getting their femurs broken, and they went from 5'5" to now they're 7 inches taller. You not only are married to,
Where is this going?
a height challenge guy,
A together femur guy.
a together femur guy like that.
Okay, and you said this man started out initially as 5'5".
He's 5'5".
So he was the height of my husband.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's as tall as we are.
Yeah,
myself
he's-
and Ryan, right?
Do you think that makes a difference when you're talking about the one and a woman who wants to look at height versus everything else? And would you think your husband would ever think of doing something like that?
Doing the surgery. I think attraction, of course, is the first thing
Right.
that anybody, that's if you're going to see someone. I'm myself, I'm 4'11" and a half. I'm going to give myself that half.
Not the half.
The half,
You can
yes.
have the half.
Got to have the
Take it.
half.
Half and half.
My husband to me is tall.
Right.
But, and I've seen some women who are tall and they have, short mates. And
Right.
so I think it just depends on what's important to you. I've also talked to some women, they're like, absolutely not. I would not ever date a man shorter than me, or vice versa. A man saying he would never date a woman taller than him. Now, my husband is very confident in his height. It's funny. He says, babe, I didn't necessarily realize I was short until I started doing what I'm doing professionally. And it started being pointed out. He was like, before then, it wasn't
she was
necessarily that, anything that was,
A big deal.
a big deal to him. Yeah.
Right.
And then, I married a short man and gave birth to another one. So, I mean, the gene pool, hey. Y'all, my grandmother was 4'9".
Really?
Yeah, my grandmother was 4'9", and then Kirk's mother is short as well. So, yeah, our daughter is 4'10".
Okay,
youngest
so
daughter.
y'all are in the forwards
We
and
we
the
the
mid fives.
itty bitty committee. Yes,
So TV One, the one.
yes.
And I was talking to a friend on the way in today, and she's like, "Oh my God, I love the show, but what I don't like is that they're drinking." I was like, "Well, isn't it a Christian show?" So I'm going to ask you:
Okay.
Is this a Christian dating show?
No, it is
Okay.
not a Christian dating show. Kirk and I, of course, are Christians.
Right.
But the show itself is not a Christian show. For us, that was, it wasn't an alarming for us. It was Kirk and I mean, people have gotten a chance to see and come alongside, and, our journey is that we like to have conversations beyond the box of the church. We want to have conversations with real, authentic people, and not that the church is not.
Right.
But for instance, me having this platform, getting a chance to talk, to promote the show. I've gotten a chance to do, faith-based platforms. I've gotten a chance to do platforms that are not. But the what's important to us is that we continue to bring all of who we are to the table. And so, for instance, we did an interview, and I was asked a question about conflict, and I was able to say on a secular show, the way I view conflict is through the lens of my Christianity. Well, for some, if you were to hear me say that on a faith-based show, okay, but to say it out loud on a secular show,
Right.
that's ministry in itself. Because then it's like, oh, okay, well, they don't look typically like the same, and there are a lot of people that have had a lot of church hurt, so they're not necessarily going to go into the four walls. I've had church hurt,
Right.
but I didn't walk away. And so there are a lot of people that have walked away from the faith because
I'm going to
that
start.
you got your phone on.
This is my delivery person.
But yeah, so for us, it wasn't a turnoff. It was like, we're still going to be who we are. And let's just not pretend like Christians don't have a little communion juice
Right.
or joy juice, whatever you want to call it,
Say it.
Yeah.
on occasion. I mean, and my interpretation of the word is don't be drunk.
Right.
Which
It does
Okay.
not say don't
Right.
drink. But I respect those who have a difference of opinion, or I would say even have a different conviction.
Yeah. We got more when we come back, because I want to bring back up this church hurt thing
Okay.
again, because you kind of I'm triggered.
You triggered?
We're
Yeah.
all triggered.
Hey, this vein right here.
That's Ryan Cameron Uncensored.
Woo.
It is Ryan Cameron Uncensored, and we're talking to Tammy Franklin about The One on TV One on Thursdays. And when we left, you talked about church hurt, which I don't know if I've really heard that phrase before. But
Really?
I promise you it's new because that's why I felt triggered.
But it makes
There's
perfect
no
sense.
hurt.
But it makes perfect sense.
Perfect
There's no
sense.
hurt like church hurt.
Can I tell you my church hurt story?
I would love to hear your church hurt story.
I was at a church, and it was on a big hill. And every week there would be a lot of people that were elderly walking down this hill.
Okay.
And I said, man, one day somebody's going to fall and they're going to break a hip. And I was like, I need to do something. So I went out and I bought a golf cart for them to carry the senior members up and down the hill. And I was just, so happy because the winter came and they were all getting rides up and down the hill. And I went to the church one day and I was like, hey, man, you bought the golf cart for the church? And I was like, yeah. Have a little chest puffed out. And then they was like, yeah, you could have bought two.
Church hurt.
And I was like, what? And it was so, I felt like, somebody had like stabbed me in the chest.
Absolutely.
It was so.
Because
and-
because you met a need, first of all,
Right.
that you all weren't meeting. You saw a need, met a need, you didn't say, hey, can y'all help me
Right.
buy a golf cart? You did it on your own,
I
right?
did.
Wow.
But it drove me. I stopped going.
And there's a lot of people with that story.
Yeah. So when you say that, there's a lot of people that have those kind of instances. But do you think we're seeing now that the opposite forces of God are being given more of a platform, not only in television and in media, but you're seeing all kinds of things where it's almost like more blatant. I read something that was like, the devil usually was down in the dungeon and evil, but now it's like front and center.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that, whether it's the person that did not, commend you for meeting a need,
Right.
or people that are, greedy, people that would, absolutely use and play on people's emotions to benefit themselves.
Right.
I think that whether it's the church, police, business people, government, there are corrupt people everywhere. And that does not exclude, unfortunately, the church. And I think that the sad part is, like you said, which breaks my heart, is that you didn't go back.
I was
And
done.
You were done. And oftentimes that is the response. And unfortunately, people don't realize that people hurt them, not God. But they put the God in the place of those people. And I
Right.
think that's the sad detriment of
Yeah.
when something, like that happens. So did you ever go back?
Yeah, I did. But
Did you change churches or?
I tried, and some of the other churches, because I started like doing like a drive-through church. I had it like timed out. Like there's a church here in Atlanta, right? I don't like the singing, but I
get that.
I like the message.
I get that. Yes.
So wait for it.
Right.
Here's what I got, Tammy. This is what I do. I know that if I go to Starbucks, get my banana bread and my
Ooh, and they got some
latte
good banana bread. Ooh.
by 9:15, the singing is over. And I walk right in to the message.
Straight to the word.
Listen.
And I'm good with that because I don't like the singing part.
Let me tell you something. I'm not going to say it wasn't a particular church. I was involved in a Bible study.
Yeah.
And I'll just say that it was predominantly not us.
Right.
Let's just start there.
Uh-huh.
And so that lets you know what the music
Yeah.
was like. And this particular location didn't even have instruments.
Ooh.
So I'm like, you are giving me unseasoned chicken
Unseasoned chicken.
along with
With raisins in it.
raisins.
Stuff with raisins.
And you're not going to even give me the banging of a piano to help me. So I would get up and go to the bathroom and wash my hands and, then come back it's time.
Time perfect.
Time for the lecture.
So you felt my pain in
I
that.
feel your pain.
Yeah, we got
Yes.
more coming up with Tammy Franklin. It's Ryan Cameron Uncensored. It is Ryan Cameron Uncensored, and we've been hanging out with Tammy Franklin, talking about The One, which is, airing on TV One. How long you been married? 27?
27 years.
We're seeing a lot of instances of people 16, 17 years in.
I think I know where you're going.
And then be like,
that's it.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done.
My grandparents were married for 55 years.
Wow.
Are we seeing, like, what's going on?
Okay, so I'm not an expert, but
But you play one on TV.
Right.
well, I even say on TV, I'm not an expert. I have experience. So what I'm going to give you is what I've experienced.
Right.
I believe that there is so much emphasis put on the length of a marriage, but not necessarily the quality
Okay.
of the marriage. So you may have people who have been married, let's say 25 years, but the quality of the marriage, they don't, like, it's been broken for a long, long time. And then you may have someone that's been married 10 years and
Right.
they put in the work, they go to therapy, they communicate. But one would say, 25 over 10. And it's like, but the quality is what makes the difference. There are a lot of people who stay together for the kids.
Right.
They don't even realize that they're staying together for the kids. They get to a place of empty nest and it's like, ooh, we didn't put in the work to be friends. We didn't put in the work to work through any of the things that are broken. So now it's being highlighted what is broken.
Right.
And so that's why you end up having people who've been married. You're like, what? Y'all getting divorced? Yeah, man, we ain't really like each other. Or
We became roommates.
we became roommates. We didn't realize we grew apart. And so I think that's what's happening.
So we'll talk. I'm gonna touch on what you just said. Empty nesters. You guys are empty nesters.
We are empty
now, right?
nesters now. Mm-hmm.
How is that?
It's an adjustment.
Is
it is
so?
an
So you
adjustment.
turn around and it's not like no kids.
Well,
It's just
for-
y'all in your face.
I think the thing that helps is that Kirk and I are really, really good friends. And
Right.
we worked, that's something we've been really, really intentional about within our 27 years. And so that helps. When you hit a transition, a hard moment, there's no way we can be married 27 years and not have hard moments. It's the friendship, the glue, our faith that helps bring us back together. But Kirk I've had my moment with emptiness, and I think a woman, it's thought of that she would have it first.
Right.
But he's had a delayed reaction to empty nesting that I don't think there's enough talk about. Well, how is it for a man to
Yeah.
be empty nested? So it's not something that's like we're drudging through it, but it's definitely like we're making sure that we're talking, communicating. I'm hearing him out like it's been really hard for him that his babies are gone.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah.
I mean, because my son, when
was the last one to go?
When you realize that everybody is grown,
Right.
and they can make their own decisions, and they kind of just move in another direction. But if it goes wrong, then you're a phone call away.
Well, yes.
But if it goes right,
Yes.
they're kind of just moving, and you're like, wow, man.
Yeah.
I mean, these are our biggest investments, and then
Absolutely, yeah.
you feel like.
Nobody
I
want to call
we
me.
did a whole show, and it's like the Cats in the Cradle, that song. We always talk about,
Yeah.
when you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when.
That's the Father's Day song.
That's the Father's Day song right now. So for people that are listening and have watched the show, or I'll rephrase, people who have not watched the show, what is it that if they decided after hearing this, okay, I'm going to watch it, what is it that you think they're going to learn from watching you guys together and about relationships?
Well, the great thing, what helped me with my yes to the show is that you have a bachelor and a bachelorette who are more seasoned in their lives. They're accomplished. You have Brent, the bachelor, who is in his 40s. He's into real estate. Our bachelorette is 37. She's a chemist. She owns her own home. And so that's a different dynamic than I think what you typically see sometimes on dating shows,
Right.
where they're seasoned, they're accomplished, and it's like, I need help in this area. Then you have, a couple such as ourselves who are coming alongside, and we're coaching them about the process of getting to know someone. Now, this is, it's a fast-paced process. It's a little different. It's not necessarily transferable to real life depending on how you approach dating. But I think that what people will get a chance to see is, of course, it's going to be entertaining, but also, too, real life is happening. These people, because they're more seasoned as well as their suitors, they got children. They got
Right.
stuff happening. You're not going to see, chairs getting thrown. And
Ooh, she's
glasses
shaking the
getting-
table.
although it's TV, so there is an
Right.
entertaining quality about it. But also, too, Kirk and I come alongside, and we are invested. I love helping women.
Right.
and to be able to come alongside and not only be a presence for the Bachelorette Ashley, but all the ladies and even the men.
Right.
Sometimes we would switch off, and I would talk to the guys, Kirk would talk to the girls, but we are really coming alongside and coaching them.
When you last question, I guess, being that you have been in the spotlight for so long, when you wake up in the age of social media and you're trending, and you click on, you see what it's about. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good.
Yes.
How do you deal with that and still maintain the sanity of the relationship based on the fact that people now have a look into parts of your lives that they really don't have no business knowing about?
None. And then two, and that's the key point is keeping the main thing for us, the main thing, and that is our circle.
Right.
And Kirk and I have really worked hard. I'm not saying that it's easy. We've really worked hard at whether it's good, because you can get caught up in the good too. And that ain't necessarily good for
Right,
you, because these are complete strangers. So for us, it's like, well, what does my circle think about me? My circle is my core friends. And quite frankly, how do I think about me? Am I sleeping well at night? How do I feel about how God feels about my heart? That's been the most grounding thing for us. For me, people may say that, well, that's, kind of traditional thinking. It's the way I think. And that is, I viewed my role as setting the environment of our home. And so for me, creating normalcy for our children, creating a safe place for my husband to fall, that was important to me, because I soon saw in the process of all this chaos, I'm like, right here needs to be sanctuary. And so that's the focus that I feel like I've brought to our home, and that me doing so brings my husband alongside. Not that he didn't want to do that, but I think as a woman, that's the first. We can multitask now,
right?
So we're looking around, skimming around. It's like, okay, we need to implement something new here. But that's how we've managed to do it. Is it always easy? Absolutely not. I mean, things can go crazy real quick.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate the time today.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed this.
It is Ryan Cameron Uncensored. Again, you got to watch, what's the central time?
It is The One on TV One, 9 p.m., 8 Central.
We got more coming up. It's Ryan Cameron Uncensored.